All right. Hello, everyone. Breaking news. The WHO finally declares the coronavirus a pandemic. I guess they finally got enough people pressuring them, saying, you know what? This is a pandemic. So finally they've stopped changing their definition of a pandemic and declared it a pandemic. All right, here we go. Live updates. World Health Organization declares coronavirus a pandemic, citing alarming levels of spread and alarming levels of inaction. What do we got? 17, 18 states in the United States that have declared a state of emergency? What does that mean? Because nothing has happened. Just the last couple of days, Washington State's been under a state of emergency for a week. And then just finally the last day, the governor has said, well, we're going to have to stop having meetings and we're going to have to stop having big get-togethers of 250 people or more. And local businesses are like, okay, well, if you can stay home, stay home. And one of the PUDs, the public utility districts, has said that no citizens can come to any of their buildings and only essential employees are to show up at work. And that's a public utility district. That is the electricity, my friends, the electricity. So anyway, let's see what Inslee said. All right. I should have already had this up, but I didn't. Let's search quickly. All right. One of the things is not having groups of more than 250. And even one of the colleges, several of the colleges, have actually closed classes and went to online for their students. And nursing homes, now the patients in the nursing home or the residents can only have one adult visitor per day per resident. And so if you are a family and you want to go in and see your grandparent, not happening. Unless it is they are, what is it? The only other is if the person is passing away. Then more than one person can go in. Of course, hopefully if it's not with the coronavirus. You don't want a bunch of people there then. Anyway, unless they're all gowned up. Anyway, what else? About the get-togethers. There's like Amazon has one of their people came down with it over in Seattle or wherever it is, Bellevue, whatever, wherever the main office is. So everybody's working from home. Okay, well, hey, doing that all in the private sector. The governor, Washington State's governor, said with his new mandates, okay, only one person in a nursing home visit, no groups more than 250, a lot of get-togethers or what do you want to call when the government has their little town meetings and stuff, they're all getting canceled. Think about that for a sec. All right, colleges are canceling. What is one of the biggest groups in any state that's always together? Public schools. Lunchtime, you have 500-600 people in that cafeteria. On those crowded halls where they're bumping and pushing and trying to get around each other, those hallways are packed full. It's not like on the TV when you got 5 or 6 kids walking up and down the hallway. That's not how it really is. It's massive amounts of kids, 30 kids piling out of each classroom all at the same time, rubbing up against each other, walking down the hall, sneezing all over, coughing all over each other. So why? I know he's put, Inslee put in so-called things on those, and a couple of those schools over where the breakout is, the main breakout, over by Seattle, they have closed for 2 days, 3 days, to disinfect the building and then let all the kids back in. So if these kids were exposed, or you have kids that were exposed, and you have to disinfect the building, what good's it doing if you're letting them back in the building? Because they're just re-germing the building. Good question, right? So, I know it's kind of hard to shut down public schools because those parents are working. But you notice over there on the coast, a lot of them are on the Washington coast, that they shut down just the high schools and disinfected the high schools. They didn't do the middle schools or the grade schools, just the high schools. So their little brothers and sisters that were exposed to them at home, it's kind of like, do they not matter? I know the chances of them really getting sick and getting the worst consequence of that virus is almost nothing. It's pretty much zero. I mean, there's still a chance, but zero. They're still carriers. They still have grandparents. Some of them have older. And like even Inslee said, okay, we need to consider with schools because we got a lot of staff members that are above that 60 age mark. Lots of bus drivers and EAs, educational assistants, and teachers and principals. A lot of them are over 60. But they're sitting there saying, and then also the government, the CDC just said, well, if you're over 60, you should go to the store, stock up on food so you can stay home, so you don't have to keep going in and out, keep exposing yourself. But all these staff members that are 60 and above, they're constantly getting exposed. I know the problem is, if you shut down the schools, you got all those young kids that can't be home alone. And those parents that are working. So I know it's kind of a bind on what to do on that. Because what happens if you send all those kids home? All those parents ain't going to be able to find babysitters. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation there. You keep schools going, you just keep it spreading. You declare a state of emergency. The places it was at should have been under immediate lockdown, just like New York just did. In those areas where, you stay in your house until a certain amount of time has passed. So if you've been exposed to it, you're either going to get it or you get over it. Or any of the germs that's left laying around are dead. But the only state that's actually done that is New York. All these other states where it actually started at, Washington, California, did they do that? No. Their schools are still going full bore. Everybody's still wandering the streets. They are the ones that yes, they're saying in Seattle there's a lot less people walking around and stuff. But they're doing that on their own choice. Not by government orders, which means they're still out there walking around, doing their stuff, spreading it. Just like, okay, let's stay home, but let's send our kids to school. Because what are they saying? When someone coughs or sneezes, it shoots it out 14, 15 feet, and it'll linger in the air for 30 minutes. So those kids are getting it on their clothes if they're being exposed. And like they said, when they a while back, those people that were on the news that were talking, they're sitting there saying that some people are carriers and they're contagious, but they're showing no symptoms. So, which is more likely going to be the younger crowd, and they are going to be going to school and passing it amongst each other and taking it on home. Isn't that funny? Because they still have away sports going on where the teams are going to other school districts and playing games and doing all their stuff. Now, that's even worse because you're sending them out to other districts and halfway across the state and stuff. So that's just showing that sports are more important than the kids' health or anybody's health. Sports, sports. Everything's about sports. Well, when that kid comes home and goes and sees his grandparent, who's 70 years old, well, chances are it's not going to turn out very good. So, how's the government explain that? Why didn't they do like New York did? New York barely started getting the stuff. I mean, Washington State's had it for a month or several weeks. New York just barely started getting the cases, and hell, they're already doing lockdowns. Washington State, California, hell, do whatever you want. Finally, well, we should put a stop to this. We should put a stop to that. No true orders of stopping it. It's pretty much citizens and companies taking it upon themselves to do it. I know a lot of people are like, well, we don't want the government controlling. Oh, that's stepping on our rights. It is. It's stepping on your rights for you being locked down. It's against the Constitution. But also the government is also supposed to protect our health and livelihood and well-being. So they're going against the Constitution by not doing it and not doing lockdowns. So all you people that are sitting there saying, oh, they're going against our rights. Oh, they want to lock us off. They want to make us wear masks. Oh, that's against our rights. They want to tell us to stay home. Oh, that's against our rights. Well, it's also against the rights of the people who aren't sick for you to go traveling around spreading it. You know, it's also against our rights for the government not to be doing something to protect its citizens. That is part of the Constitution, too. The government is supposed to be there for the citizens, to protect the citizens. So it's kind of a win-lose situation, right? So who's bringing the Constitution in it saying, oh, it's taking away my constitutional rights, it's also in both ways you're losing constitutional rights because the government's also supposed to protect you. Think about that one for a second before you start arguing with that argument. But anyway, let's go back to it getting spread. You know, it's already pretty much across the whole Washington state. What good's it to do the order now? Because they're already saying there's at least 1,000 people. The doctors and stuff saying there's at least 1,000 people across the state, just the state. You know, with the people that don't have symptoms and stuff. It's too late to lock down. It's already spread. They should have did it right from the beginning. So anyway, excuse me. I hope we're all get through this fine, but with the way our government is and being so lax on everything, and you cannot blame that on one party. They're all guilty. Just like I said, Washington, California did nothing. That's the Democrats. And then a lot of people are sitting there trying to blame it on Trump. You know what? Yes, Trump did cut funding from the CDC. But as you can see, Democrats aren't doing anything to control it either. So they're sitting there saying, "Oh, we're not getting our test kits. Oh, it took forever to get our test kits." What good's testing people if you're not locking down the area where it's at? You're just letting it spread. So both parties are guilty. So you can't blame just one party. Anyway, hope we all survive it. And you know what really gets me is when you got people sit there saying, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Oh, it's just like the flu. It's not that bad. Blah, 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 blah." You tell that to those elderly people in those nursing homes that it's nothing. It's nothing. You tell them that. Put a baseball bat in their hand and you tell them, "Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing." And see what they're going to do to your head. Because it is something. It's got a way higher death rate than the flu does. So it's not the flu. It's not even the same virus. The flu is the influenza virus. This is the coronavirus. It's a totally different virus. So stop thinking it's no big deal, because it is a big deal. To those people over 60 and those 70 and 80-year-olds in those nursing homes, it is a big deal. Because if you don't think it's a big deal, well, you're not a big deal. You don't mean nothing. Because that's what you're saying about those people. Think about that for a second. Y'all have a good day.